Welcome back to Generations in Conversation. Wow, it's been a while, but here we are. But today, we slow down. The last few episodes explored technology, AI, and meaning. But this one, it's different. We're shifting gears to look inward because life is not a rehearsal.
Views, stories, and ideas shared on Generations in Conversation are based on our personal experiences, research, and honest curiosity. We are not licensed therapists, medical professionals, or trained theologians. The conversations on this podcast are not intended to be a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you need mental health, medical, or spiritual guidance, please seek support from qualified professionals. We aim to share, learn, and grow together, but always encourage you to take care of yourself and consult trusted experts when needed.
Exactly. We really do just get one shot at this, one lifetime to feel, to learn, to heal, to love, to hope. And this episode is about what stays and what changes when we decide to live more fully.
Yeah, when the noise of progress fades, what remains is a quiet question. Who am I becoming? I listened to somebody who said, listen, we have about 4,000 weeks on earth. And I thought, well, that's not much. You know, if you've had 4,000 Kenyan shillings or even $4,000 or 4,000 euros, you can burn through that in a day. It's crazy to frame your lifespan, let's say, or expectancy in weeks. 4,000 weeks is what we have. That's about what? 4,000 divided by 52? 76, 77, right? Something like that. So, time is the only thing that we consume, right? Without ever knowing even what balance we have. I can sit there because something can happen. I'm here today, tomorrow I can be gone, right? Yeah, and again, we did a mini podcast where we talked about how we came about this podcast, what inspired us, and how we started. And it was very clear that I think we realized, wow, we have only one shot at this life. And the conversations we were having, when you and I spoke on the phone, were amazing. And we sat there and we thought, well, we should record this. This could be useful to us and someone else. But, what we're talking about with this now not new really, it's a building on the past episodes, is the science of hope, faith, and restoration, stories of healing, and hope, not merely as a concept, but as a practice. Well, and when we talk about healing, people think, well, what is this about healing? Do I need to heal from? Yes, we do. Right? Because it's interesting in those 4,000 weeks, or probably even before you're born, when you're in your mother's womb, there are some artifacts of life that have a way of bruising you, that have a way of injuring you, right? That have a way of maybe clouding what you are really born to be, right? Your original value. And that value we've spoken about, that value is intrinsic, it is non-negotiable. What happens? It gets covered up by this artifact, just like a precious coin might, or a precious thing might be covered up. So, and so when we talk about healing, it's not poetic. Actually, it's physiological. It's something tangible. And what we know is the brain, this thing in between your ears, is plastic, meaning it can be molded. We've talked about renewal of your mind. It can be renewed. Each new thought, each act of forgiveness rewires its circuitry. That is neuroplasticity. Redemption written in biology. God gave us a physical being. We are biological beings. We are spiritual beings, right? And where one stops, the other one starts. That's a
It's a
question.
blurry line. It is. And we've seen in the epigenetics that shows that trauma and healing echoes across generations. You were saying that some of this value and the artifacts on your value are stuck there even before you take your first breath. And what does it do? It does so many things that this trauma and this healing, it changes your gene expression. It changes how you wake up in the morning, how you view the world. There was an awesome study that these guys were doing on people, and they obviously brought them in to do something completely different. And they were just showing them faces of random people. And the people who had the highest cortisol, the highest stress, the lowest happiness, even saw neutral faces as, angry or disappointed or sad. And the opposite is true with that hope as a practice. When you are that hopeful person, when you see things differently, when you forgive differently, the story that you write, the story that you experience is that much better, that much more beautiful. And there was an awesome saying I read on Substack earlier this week that imagine if you were reading a book and you could never go back to the page that was before it. That is now your life. That's how life is. Once you read it, once you do it, there's no going back. So really taking in this science of hope, this practice of hope, and using that to write our stories in going into the future is extremely important and life-changing.
Oh my. I could digress now. You are a quintessential prompter. I can tell you that. Two things. You said it in many words that we see the world as we are. That's profound. So even something that is neutral, I may view as that thing as adverse to me. I saw something the other day and I laughed and it reminded me of me. Somebody's car had broken down here in where I am in Abidjan, and he came out and kicked the tire of that car. And I thought, oh my God, the way I am inside actually really determines how I view the world and how I project even humanity to inanimate objects. Kicking a car, it doesn't make a difference. But because of the stress inside me, because maybe this person had a very rough day, and this is an addition to an insult to injury. This damn car broke down. I'll kick it. It'll feel how I'm feeling, right? So we see the world as we are. Very, 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 very profound, Tari. The second part is still has to do with this science of hope. That indeed, what you said, as we then practice a different way of navigating the world, forgiving, loving, being kind to ourselves, being kind to others, that this can also profoundly begin to change and rewire how we think. And indeed, what you said, hope is a practice, or what we've said, we established this hope is a practice. And what you practice, you become. Hope is not a fantasy, it's data. And studies show that hopeful people have lower inflammation and stronger immunity. We're not making this up. Now, it's interesting, you and I have talked about entropy in our previous discussions, and so, hope is, again, it's not fantasy. And every act of hope is a small step or a small defiance against entropy. And I was thinking, what is entropy? Imagine a child on a beach, right? And building a sand castle, all right? That child builds that sand castle, and guess what comes? In a bit, a wave of water that washes the sand castle away, right? These are things, this is really how life happens. That wave is entropy. You have no control over what happens. But what you have control over is rebuilding that castle, knowing that it serves a purpose for that moment, right? So life will happen. Somehow life, not somehow, we know life will happen. There are things we do not have control over. And we can talk about that over and over again, as you know.
Indeed. No, it is constantly, the one constant in life and one constant in the world is that things will change, that entropy will come. And I really like what you highlighted in the point of understanding that this serves the purpose for this moment, and not attaching yourself to things or overextending your attachment past that is also how you keep your hope and your faith strong.
Absolutely. And as I said, we quote the scripture from time to time. Romans 5 reminds us suffering produces endurance, endurance, character, and character, hope. And I was reading that and I'm thinking, wait a minute. Suffering produces endurance? It's very interesting that comfort can be our enemy. And we were not built, or we were not created, or we were not born for comfort. After 9 months, this comfortable existence, we are out into the harsh reality, right? you come out screaming.
Mm-hmm.
The environment is cold. I mean, your body is not used to this. Crazy, crazy stuff.
It's loud. It's
It's
bright.
yes, all that, right? Crazy stuff, right? And very soon, you're struggling to walk, you fall, you hurt yourself, things are happening, right? You're not comfortable. You're moving. Pretty soon, you're in your early childhood, and you're very unsettled about that. You can't wait to be a teenager like the teenagers you see, right? You look up to them. And you get to your teenage years, and my goodness, oh, I cannot wait to get out of this house.
I
And
know that.
I know everything, right? And then your early 20s, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's really difficult to do this adulting, right? And like somebody I know, you'll get married. Right? And so on and so forth. And we are born to move. We are not born to be stationary and to be so comfortable. Listen, if I did not work out, right? If I did not put any effort in this life, I would not be here. In fact, if you just slept and somebody just fed you in your bed, you would die. You have to get up, you have to move, right?
That's what we're designed for. Yeah.
And we will talk about dopamine, we'll talk about all these chemicals that are designed to get us moving, to get us motivated to do things, although motivation can ghost you, right? Endurance. You do not, you don't become a marathon runner overnight. You train for endurance. And then when you go and do the thing and you're successful at that thing, what happens to you? You're like, oh my God, I did it. This reinforces your hope, right? Again, a few things you say really light me up. And we'll talk about this. Let us not be, this is what I tell myself often, don't be a victim of your own comfort.
Yeah. No, it's as it's growth and comfort don't exist in the same space. And it's this verse specifically has challenged me, I think, greatly. Because there are those times in that endurance period where you think, oh, this is going to kill me. I'm going to be finished by this thing, whether it's work, whether it's a relationship, whether it's even sometimes just getting up and doing the thing that you said you were going to do. And with our negativity bias as well, and I think we'll talk more about this as our episodes go on. It's hard. You have to make a point. You have to make a point to remember how far and what you've endured and what that then transforms into your character, who you are. And I think you put it great earlier. What you practice is what you not only become, but what you are. It is a very integral piece of what you are. And I think there's another conversation there to have as well, or another point on having this hope does not erase the pain. The pain is always going to be there. The suffering is always going to be there. Again, in Proverbs as well, it does talk about this, that like an ingot of gold, you must go into the furnace to be purified of your iniquities. That is very, I mean, I watch a lot of like forging content. That's or like people making knives and all these different things, and you see it go into the forge and it comes out hot, and then the first thing that they do is hammer it. You're already burnt, and then you're being hammered. But that knowledge of it serves a purpose. This is going to be building me up for the future means that heat, that hammer is building. It's transforming me. You've never seen, even for a seed to grow, you gotta put it in the ground and it has to perish. It has to die. There's that pain of death, and then it germinates and it starts to grow, but it has to fight for nutrients. It has to fight its way through the ground, and it keeps on going. And look, now we breathe. Now we see all these beautiful colors. And I've seen that pain in each of our stories, and it's been a joy as well as a great challenge to get the right perspective, I think, on this pain.
Wow. Yeah. It's interesting, again, how you capture this. A seed must die for life to come forth. That grace does not erase pain. It transforms it. Is it Viktor Frankl said, if you really understand the why, right? Meaning, the meaning of that pain, then it's quite easy. Not quite easy, sorry, it's never easy. But you can then endure the whatever comes, right? We all know who Viktor Frankl is. He survived those Holocaust death camps, was treating people, and lived for quite a long time. And in fact, he's the same person who challenged a little bit of what Maslow was talking about when it comes to the hierarchy of needs. That the top being, what the basics being, well, you have a roof over your head, your basic needs are met, whatever, and then you go up this ladder. And I think Victor argued that, look, it is finding meaning, the why, that is the most important. You can be living in a gutter. You can be in that Holocaust situation. But, if you're able to somewhat understand the why and find that meaning, then yes, the what will be enjoyed. And perhaps you'll come out better on the other end. And grace does not make life easy. That's not what it's saying. No, that grace, the grace to understand the why, makes life possible.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about these stories of healing, these healing communities, I'm drawn back to people in Turkana, especially the women in Turkana who rebuild water points every time after drought. There's somebody who is a good friend of mine who's actually been working in that space for over 20 years. And like you're pointing back to that purpose, the why. You're in practically a desert. It's completely arid. But there is a drive, a necessity, a need that surpasses any circumstance that is thrown upon you, any situation that is thrown upon you. And you go out and you do it. And you come back stronger every time. And just like that sandcastle that you're talking about, life happens. And that water point go. But for that moment, you and your family and your cattle and everyone have water. And I think on a personal level, that healing again becomes a mirror, becomes a reflection. It shows you that this resilience is not about being perfect. It's not about getting 100% straight A's, which for a lot of people that was a big stress in life. It's not about not breaking, but it's about being breakable and still being beautiful and still being there, present, fighting against the entropy, fighting against this call of comfort.
Talking of being breakable and being broken and being imperfect, and listen, I think this is what we know, that the idea of perfection maybe is one of the worst self-abuses we can engage in, because there's nobody who can be perfect. There's nothing that is really perfect. And when you talk about being broken, it reminds me of the Japanese art of repairing pottery with gold. That is, they call it Kintsugi or Kintsukuroi, which means
It almost sounds Kimeru, sorry.
The
second one almost sounds Meru.
Absolutely. Yeah, right. Which, this means golden joinery. It is where they mix powdered gold with this glue and to mend broken ceramics. And they highlight the cracks rather than hiding them, symbolizing that imperfections can be beautiful and a part of an object's history. So even as we discuss this, and what you just referenced, that again, healing becomes a mirror. It shows as resilient is not about being unbreakable, but it's about being breakable and still beautiful, right? Across the world, those who rebelled after loss carry the same wisdom. This too shall pass, but I shall remain. And again, going back to Viktor Frankl, he calls all this tragic optimism. The refusal to give suffering the final word. Somebody the other day told me something very interesting. Do not waste your suffering. I stopped in my tracks. I said, what do you mean? Repeat that again. He said, do not waste your suffering. Your suffering is an opportunity for you to learn something about yourself and what you're capable of. He said, look, you are here today. What have you endured all along to be here? There are many times where you made some stupid moves that could have killed you. But here you are, right? You know, and you know this. We've all gone through hardships and things like this, and we forget that. So he said, don't waste your suffering.
That actually is really interesting, because I was having this conversation with a good friend as well, not too long ago. and it's a recurring theme of that suffering is going to be there, whether you're on the right path or on the wrong path, or you can even be on the right path and not be moving. But the one thing that's for sure is the suffering will be there. So I love that. Don't waste it. Take the opportunity. And that's, I think, a reframing that I've been trying to learn and teach myself is yes, it is suffering, but more than that, it's an opportunity. And learning to be grateful for every opportunity because you don't know whether it's your last or where it will lead you. And there's an awesome book that I've been going through with a group of my men called The Road Less Traveled. And in the first half, or in the first section, not even the first half, the first section of the book, I mean, even the book itself opens with life is difficult. That is the opening statement. And the ability to take on, to reframe, and to really change your perspective on this difficulty, on the pain, on the suffering, into an opportunity to look inward, to look at yourself, where you have come and where you want to go, is one that's in theory very simple. It's a simple idea, but it is pivotal to you actualizing yourself and you being comfortable, because you will always have something to complain about or something that is hurting you.
It's very good. Life isn't supposed. Come on, when you get out of your mother's womb, you're shocked.
The first thing, they spank you. They spank you.
Oh, yeah, if you don't, if you don't cry, they spank
If you don't cry.
right? Yeah, and talking of suffering and not wasting suffering, and what just to dovetail a little bit and make it a little bit more personal. I have a late diagnosis of, being on an autistic spectrum, the highly functional, and ADHD and all kinds of things. And for the longest time, I can tell you, I'm highly functional. I believe these are gifts that I've been given because I have this pattern recognition. I can see, I see things, I see words, I see, right? In a couple of things that actually I used to suffer quite a lot because I didn't understand what it was all about. Two things very quickly on a very personal basis. One is when I go to do shopping in a mall, I may appear calm and I talk to people. You've been with me, and I go there, I light up. But I can tell you, as I go to do that, I'm extremely anxious. And actually, yes, there's real anxiety going on. The stimulation, the material, the smell of all this material and these choices. I mean, you have endless choices. Can you imagine? So, I didn't realize this, and I'd suffer, right? And I thought there was something wrong with me, right? And really, I can tell you that I love shopping for groceries, for example, because I love to cook. But at the same time, it's a torture, and I feel it, and I can feel the palpitations. If I had a monitor checking my heart rate, it goes up, and things like this, and my mind, and sometimes I even get confused, actually, in terms of the decisions that I make. Right, and I used to beat myself over it, right? And then, on the autistic spectrum side, where this is very, very mild, I used to be tortured or to feel tortured going for meetings. And I didn't realize what it was. You know, again, this is why I'm saying don't waste your suffering. Learn from it. It's data. You know, and then finally, I realized, oh, I don't like this performative kind of thing where you go, you know, all the niceties, and you know, we know what the issues are, and some people just, oh, you know, they like talk and you know, blah. Blah. It really, I had a, you know, one on one, no problem. I love it. I mean, our conversations, you know, and I'm great, you know, you know, I had a band and we are musicians and
Yeah.
things like this,
Yeah.
and I can tell you, even when I did music, I did not perform. What I did, I realized this, was putting myself out there. It's crazy. I mean, the energy that takes, I didn't realize that because I'd feel completely drained afterwards. And for 2 or 3 days, I wouldn't want to mix a lot with people and stuff like this. So, you know, you realize all these things, but it's suffering, you know, post
Indeed.
whatever it is or during. And so, on a very personal basis, suffering is data. And if you understand the why, the what you can enjoy. Now it's very, very simple for me. As I go into a mall, I stand outside for about 5 minutes. I look around and see what is around me. I name buildings. I say, oh, I see this building. You know, I do this. I breathe. And then I have this razor sharp focus of what I'm going to do in that, what I'm going to get. I'm not going to get distracted. I'm not going to, you know, and believe you me, and in, you know, likewise for meetings, I have my heuristic devices to to actually sit through meetings. I just finished a 2-day workshop, and here we are. So I like to make things personal, and I like, you know, it's, you know, look, there's nothing to hide here, right? We
No.
all have different kinds of things so anyway, again, don't waste your suffering. This is amazing. Data.
No, you're right. I think that, yeah, to add onto the personal side, like for me, the one suffering or the major anxiety I get is when I'm starting a project or starting even just a document. It's something I've been talking about with the team. It's something that I know deeply. I've read the papers, everything. But the moment I sit down to start writing, all this wave of what if the document doesn't communicate well? What if it's not great? What if this already sense of wanting it to be perfect before it even exists? And that I think it is also still some sort of cognitive thing where, yeah, that need, that desire to have everything correct from jump, and that suffering has been massive. You're
Wow.
looking at this blank document, you're like, oh man, I need this to, you know, be super clear in its communication. I need to touch all the points, make sure we don't forget anything, make sure we, you know, get the input of the rest of the team as well, so that everybody's on the same page. And again, taking that suffering that sometimes feels overwhelming, and I like to, you know, push things until the very last moment where I don't have a choice but to get it done, and changing that framing and say, no, let's get it there. Let's make it exist first. There's no perfection. There's nothing that you can do. You could be given the rest of time. I could be given the rest of time. And that's one of the heuristic devices. If I had the rest of my life, would I still be happy with how this thing turns out? Probably not. But is it going to stop me then from making it exist and going on back and iterating and improving and refining? No, why should it? So I definitely agree that this should not waste it. It's data, and you can, if you take your time and really investigate and build these heuristic devices, find the tools and learn the skills with these tools to then become more who you want to be, and less who the environment dictates to you.
Oh, the tyranny of a blank page. Oh, the tyranny of perfectionism. It's a tyrant, right? And again, when we wake up and don't just accept this is the way I am, in that I am doomed to continue suffering this way. And then we take a step back and ask why. Why not why me? This is very different. Why me is a terrible, terrible way to go.
It's victimization. Right?
You self-victimize, right? But also to realize that, again, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. With all these artifacts, with all these peculiarities, idiosyncrasies, all these things, right? You're beautifully and wonderfully and fearfully made. And to have a sense of awe, to step back and say, and you hear us use the word awesome. Awesome comes from the word awe. Awe is a reference to something bigger. That the world does not revolve around my navel. Yes, when you look at that page and you're worried about communication and you're worried about, it's all your brain, which is a predicting machine, predicting things that are actually not true.
Majority.
But also, yes, but also to be kind to your brain and to realize that your brain is trying to protect you. Your brain is not your enemy. But your brain will tell you stories that are not true. Or, like when you talk to a child, you don't explain to them the full spectrum of the catastrophic situation a situation could be, how catastrophic it could be. But we give stories, we give meaning. So as to comfort that child. Your brain sees you as that 6-year-old, it's not forgotten. Who maybe, because there's an argument between the parents, you're like, oh my goodness, you go and hide. Your brain remembers that. Your brain is trying to protect you from all these things, right? So your brain is not your enemy. Your brain is your friend. But the ability to look outside and have this awe and realize how actually wonderful, in spite of all the experiences life is, and that, we have this wonderful, let me ask you, can you even begin to understand nature? Nature is intelligent, but we think we are the most intelligent beings because we own language.
Indeed.
And we can describe that.
No, I mean, even just recently, over the past few weeks, I've been seeing from the James, or the new telescope that they had built, I think a few years ago, that was giving us very Hubble, yeah, telescope.
Yes.
That now the theory that we have of the expanding universe is completely falling flat on its face, because we are seeing new data and we're like, oh, wait, but this doesn't align with what we've said. Uh, and we like to think, just because we have this language and we can describe what we are perceiving to be reality, that we know so much more than we do.
Absolutely, right? And this is the problem, because then we become the center of our own universe. We navel gaze, and we even these little problems we have because we're navel gazing are so accentuated, and then it becomes catastrophe upon catastrophe, because oh look, see this, see what is happening to me, right? Anyway, so again, it's amazing that we get lost in our conversations, which I love, and because again, having this sense of awe, the act of wonder literally changes the brain. It changes the brain from navel gazing, self-focus, to something bigger than us. And if we don't have that, I think we're in trouble.
Indeed.
Big trouble.
And but again, the positive point in that is that, like you're saying, our mind is plastic. It is shapeable. It is remoldable, and where we put our focus, we expand those things. There's so many tools that we can use that I know you use. I have been trying to pick up these habits more often, as well of taking walks. No earpods, no nothing, just walking and saying, wow, how amazing this is. Or writing down 3 small things that you're grateful for. And that hope then becomes a discipline. It is that daily decision that, can I believe that tomorrow, even today, holds this beauty?
Wow. So a sense of awe, changing our brain, gratitude, rewiring our attention. And gratitude can come from walking and looking around and saying, wow, how great is this? Thank you. I'm glad to be here. And then forgiveness. It's interesting, forgiveness. I've investigated this for a long time. And at least for now, this is what I understand about forgiveness. It's for ahead, giving ahead, cutting yourself and others a slack, even before they do something. For giving, you give ahead of time, or you give ahead of what has happened, beyond what you just cut someone that slack. You give someone that grace. You give yourself that grace. And we know that forgiveness reduces blood pressure. And nowadays we can measure these things, right? Right? And as you forgive yourself and you forgive others, you're able to engage with others as well. Because I've found that when I sit there and I am resolute in my unforgiveness, I don't want to go and talk to people. I sit there seething, and I don't want to engage with other people. We were created for community. We were created for connection. And one of the doorways to community is forgiveness. And we know when you're connected with people, you live longer. We know this. Loneliness is a number one killer. Forget, if you look at all-cause mortality,
Mortality. Yeah.
this isolation is one of the biggest issues. You know, I'm here in Cote d'Ivoire, I don't speak French. But believe you me, I'll go to the side of the road food places and sit there and ask for food in my English or whatever, and they look at me and they laugh, and we laugh, and it's crazy, man. You know, and they try to speak some English, I try to speak some French. It is all funny, but I have community. And they remember me, and I remember them when I walk by, and we have conversations. Let me tell you, even if you don't have speech, you can speak human. Oh, yes. This is the most powerful language. I told somebody the other day, I don't speak French. Yes, I speak English fairly well. I speak Khmer very well. I speak Swahili. I speak all these things. But even if I go to places where I don't have those language skills, I will speak human so that I can connect. Connection heals.
Indeed. And that forgiveness leading or blocking connections, one of the biggest blockers. Many people have said this, and it's one of my favorite things to remember when I don't want to forgive, because that is an effort. You have to make that decision, and it's not forgiving somebody else or even yourself is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies.
Oh, man, yeah.
It infects everything in you and keeps you from that gate. It closes that door. Wow.
Man, this is amazing. It's been a while, but here we're back.
We're back.
We're back.
So
But,
now,
and to you, then, what is
Yeah.
hope?
oh, that's a great question. I think currently, because I keep learning more, hope is, how do I put this? There's a verse that you've been
Things
given.
hoped for.
Yes, and not yet
Hebrews,
seen.
Hebrews 11. Yes, okay.
Yeah, and hope is the fact that through all of this difficulty, the outcome is going to be something that builds, something that grows, something that changes positively. Um, I'm sorry to go back, but even when you're talking about the way these Japanese guys would not hide the cracks or throw the dishes away, it's even in something as simple as moving and working out. You tear your muscles. You ruin them for them to come back and be built stronger. It's even in our biology. It's in our physiology that you're scarring something for it to come back stronger. And I think that's what the hope is, that as long as I don't quit, I haven't lost. As long as I don't give up, there's no limit to what can be.
Wow.
I'll throw that question right back to you though. For you, what is hope?
My natural tendency is to ask, what's the use? It's to give up. That's a comfortable place to be. I don't want to put any effort because maybe my brain is telling me, oh, don't, no, don't go there. What if you hope and you fail? What if you hope and it doesn't work out? What if hope disappoints? So for me, hope is a discipline, just like when I don't want to work out in the morning. And, I do rocking. This is why I carry maybe 20% of my body weight in a backpack and walk for whatever, several kilometers at maybe a high rate, maybe at about 9 minutes, 15 seconds a kilometer. And, I sit there some mornings and say, but I'm old. You're old, Simba. And I have these debates with myself. Oh, you need to rest today. You need a break. You've worked hard. You've been rocking and things like that. And for 3 weeks, I've not rocked, by the way. And I had perfect excuses not to. And my brain will come and tell me, oh, comfort ye, sleep, or just, and I distract myself with other things. The crazy thing is when I get up and go and do these things that I don't want to do, I feel better. I feel stronger. I feel I have more clarity. My immune is stronger. And all these things. So hope, what is hope for me in many words? It's discipline. It's a rigorous fighting back my natural tendency to this comfortable this existence where, oh, I don't want to hope, otherwise it'll disappoint. To believe that there are possibilities. It's not wishful thinking. It is a disciplined imagination. And discipline equals freedom. This is what Kipchoge, the marathoner, said. He says, take vitamin D. I say, what? I just listen to him. Take vitamin D. And I say, what? Yes, he said vitamin D is vitamin discipline. Because if you're disciplined, then you are not completely subject to the whims that come. Motivation can ghost you. It's a feeling like any other feeling. So hope is not wishful thinking. Hope is disciplined imagination and a resistance, resisting that entropy, saying, yes, you will wipe my castle out, you waves, but I will rebuild that castle.
No, that's even on my home screen, actually, that discipline is not a restriction, rather it is the path to freedom.
I love it. I love it. Okay, life is not a rehearsal, right? We are living 4,000 weeks, 76 years, give or take. If you have 20 more, my own dad is about 93 now, right?
Yeah.
You're on Tagu.
Indeed.
But it's not guaranteed. But let's say 76, right? Again, what stays? What changes?
I agree. We love to live life like tomorrow is guaranteed, like we're going to live forever. But There is no tomorrow. The meaning is only in the now. And healing invites us, it beckons us to be present to ourselves first. Again, we're built for connection to each other. Without that, and the ability to speak human, and to the divine.
Yes.
It is the way for us to be, and then you do, and then you will have. But you have to be first.
Oh, yeah. To heal yourself is to bless both your past and to bless your future as well. The courage to mend today softens the century. If you heal yourself, you will heal your generations.
And so that's what we invite everyone who's listening to do, to live awake. Do not waste your suffering. Do not postpone your joy. The world does not need perfect people. It just needs healed ones.
And may I say, it needs healing ones as well, because we'll never be completely healed. We
Indeed.
heal every day. Oh, so thank you for joining us on Generations in Conversation. Share this episode, subscribe, and tell us what stays, what changes for you as you live more fully.
What stays? What changes? These are the questions. Thank you guys for listening, and so glad to be back. Happy about this new kind of direction, and excited to be going through it with all of you. All right, bye-bye now.